Hey guys, SmaK here with some tips on how you can improve your shooting in Battlegrounds. This is a guide for newer players, so we'll just be covering some basics for now. Get the fuck out of here. No, yeah! Woo! Oh my! Knocked one of the guys at 150. Got them both.
You want to settle down there, SmaK?
Let's go, boys. Let's go. There are many parts to being a good player in Battlegrounds, and if you want to win consistently, one of those is learning to shoot and aim well. Obviously, learning to shoot well can take time because there are many weapons with varying firing modes, firing rates, and recoil. So adjusting to all of those and dialing in your sensitivity should be a high priority. There isn't a shooting range or a deathmatch mode in the game right now. So to do this best, you should start by dropping into areas with a high player population. Pachinki, military base, school, Georgia Bowl containers are all good places to do that. And keep in mind, when you're doing this, you should focus on killing as many players as possible. And don't be afraid to die a lot. It's going to happen. You're not worried about your stats right now. You're just trying to get better so that when the pressure's on late game, you're better prepared. All right, let's talk weapon control. Now, one of the first things that comes up when talking weapon control is semi-auto versus full auto and when to use each. Personally, I tend to stay in full auto most of the time in areas with limited sightlines, especially for a simple reason. Let's say you peek over this hill, you spot a player in the distance, and you want to shoot at them. A lot of times this player doesn't know that you're here. You have cover, you have the advantage, you have time to switch into semi-auto and take shots at this player. You can use some simple game mechanics like holding shift. Just hold your breath and gives you a bit of zoom. You're able to take shots at this player, stay on target a little easier in semi-auto, and hopefully get the kill. Similar situation, you approach, and there's a player right here, 10 feet away, sees you, aiming at you, ready to fight. You have to engage this guy. You don't have a choice. And a lot of times you'll die if you're in semi-auto. If you're not prepared and you're not already in full auto, a good player, especially a player that is very good at controlling their recoil, will kill you most of the time. So very wise to get good at controlling your recoil or spraying. And we'll discuss spraying. Spraying in Battlegrounds isn't like spraying in CSGO. CSGO recoil is predictable. Battlegrounds recoil is random. That means there's no trick. There's no memorization. It's just practice. Spending a lot of time practicing, learning a weapon's tendencies. You can bridge camp, for example, and get a lot of good practice spraying at moving targets, and that will help you improve your spraying abilities. Basically, any recommendations are useless. First of all, attachments are personal preference. You may prefer the way your weapon shoots with a vertical grip. I may prefer the angled grip. Everybody uses something different. Everybody prefers something different, and that's okay. The most important thing is, with update to update, recoil can change. The effectiveness or not of attachments can change, and you need to be prepared for that. You need to go in, spend time practicing, learning your weapons, and which attachments you prefer on them. Another quick bit of info on weapon control. Something simple like crouching can also improve your handling of a weapon. Standing up, firing, recoil is a little more. It's a little tougher to control. Then if you crouch, obviously this puts you in a vulnerable position. You need to be ready. You could be sniped in the head at any time. So you need to use this in very smart positions, but much more manageable, much more controllable. All right, let's talk a little bit about optics and sniping. Now, there are a few basic mechanics that you want to keep in mind whenever you are sniping. First of all, holding shift. Again, you're holding your breath, you're steadying your aim. It's going to help you snipe a little easier. It's going to help you with any weapon, a high power optic on it. You see into the distance, steady your aim means more chance of bringing down your target. With sniping, zeroing is also brought into the equation. You want to shoot a player out in the distance. You see him at a tree. You have your range figured out. You can use page up and page down to adjust your zeroing. Do you have to use zeroing? No, you can just aim high. Those are your options, and either one works. Some players choose to adjust to aiming high and instinctively guessing their target's range. Some choose to zero. Personally, I zero at longer ranges because if I'm going to take multiple shots at a target at long range, I want to be able to consistently aim exactly where my crosshair is. If it's a quick situation, someone closer, and I need to shoot fast, I will usually just go without zeroing and aim high if I need to. Another thing to keep in mind is if you hold left click on bolt action sniper rifles after you fire, you are able to see where your bullet travels a little easier. Then that way you can adjust your lead accordingly if you're trying to hit a player on the run. For instance, I'll click and let go immediately of left click right now. And I didn't get to see where the bullet traveled. But if I click and hold, you get to see right where the bullet went. So you can try to adjust your ranging or your lead if you need to, which leads us into leading. Shooting players at range, you're going to encounter people at further distances with greater optics, and you'll want to engage those people and try to eliminate them sometimes if you can. There are a few different things that can help you get better at that, but one of the most important things is just practice. Again, as you fire at people at range, as you experience firefights with people at range, you will become more accustomed to that. You will be able to adjust easier. Just need a little practice. One guideline, a good place to start, is leading a player, one player model for every 100 meters out they are. And this has been a common thing and a good guideline. If a player is 100 meters away, you aim one player model ahead of him to lead. Now, sometimes that needs to be adjusted a little bit, a little more, a little less, but it gives you a good place to start. And there are a few things that you can do during a firefight to adjust your aim if you need to. For instance, if there is a player at this building and he hasn't peeked yet, but you're wanting to check if your zeroing is on, you can fire and you know exactly where your round is going to go. So if this is in the distance and you need to aim a little high, you're prepared. As soon as he peeks again, you're aimed exactly where you need to be and you can get the headshot. Aside from that, just randomly firing at things out in the distance as you're playing. If you feel safe and you have the ammo to practice, pick a target way out in the distance. Guess its range, zero it or aim high and try to hit it. Simple things like that, alongside with just practice in general, will help you get a lot better at hitting targets in the distance. All right, remember, dial in your sensitivities and keybinds to find what is most comfortable for you. Fight often at locations with high player population or by playing squad solo. Spend time improving your spraying abilities with assault rifles. Practice, practice, practice. The more you play, the better you'll get. Follow these tips, and you will see improvements in your shooting abilities in Battlegrounds. Thanks for watching, guys.
Right side.
Later.
Let's go! Let's go! Woo! Let's go! Oh my god! Good work, man.